All right, let's jump right in. 2025 is already looking like a huge year for crypto, and today we're going to break down three projects that are making some serious noise: Ethena, Hyperliquid, and BlockDAG. Now, what's so interesting is that each one is playing a totally different game, and we're going to unpack exactly what that means.
You know, this quote really hits the nail on the head. The market is all about these bold narratives. It's the stories that get people excited, that drive the big moves. And these three projects, they're writing some of the boldest stories we've seen in a long, long time. They aren't just making small improvements, they're trying to completely rewrite the rules for their corner of the crypto world.
So let's meet our contenders for 2025. First up, we've got Athena, with its radical new take on the stablecoin. Then there's Hyperliquid, a decentralized exchange that's already an absolute monster. And finally, BlockDAG, which has become a true phenomenon in the presale space. Three totally different strategies. So let's get into it.
Okay, let's kick things off with Ethena. Their goal is, frankly, incredibly ambitious. They're trying to create a brand new synthetic dollar called USDe that's completely disconnected from the traditional banking system. In a space where giants like Tether and Circle rule, that is a huge mountain to climb. And just look at the momentum here. It's wild. Athena's USDe has just exploded to an $11.7 billion market cap. We're talking a surge of over 86% in just a single month. I mean, that's not just growth. It's a massive statement from the market, and it's already generating over $500 million in revenue for the protocol.
But this incredible growth creates this really fascinating tension, right? On one side, the promise is crystal clear. You've got a scalable model, lower costs, and some really juicy yield opportunities. But on the other side, the peril is very real. The big question analysts keep asking is, can this thing actually hold its $1 peg if the market goes into a complete meltdown? That's the billion-dollar question.
So, you're probably wondering, how on earth does this work? Well, it all comes down to a strategy called delta neutral hedging. To put it simply, Athena is constantly balancing its books, taking positions that cancel each other out, so it's not really exposed to whether prices go up or down. That's how it generates yield and keeps its peg. It's a brilliant piece of financial engineering, but it's also its biggest potential point of failure. All right, let's switch gears and talk about our next contender, Hyperliquid. This is a totally different story. We're not talking about creating a new kind of money here, no. This story is about pure, raw, unapologetic market dominance in decentralized trading. Just let that number sink in for a second. 80%. In a little over a year, Hyperliquid has managed to capture nearly 80% of the entire decentralized perpetuals market. At its peak, it was handling up to $30 billion in daily volume. That's not just competing with major centralized exchanges, that's rivaling them. This wasn't a slow and steady climb, it was a hostile takeover. So the promise here is pretty obvious, right? You've got absolutely massive trading volumes and a user experience that is so slick, it feels like you're on a centralized platform. And get this, they did it all without taking a dime from venture capitalists, which is seriously impressive. But of course, there are questions. What happens if those massive trading volumes dry up? And with a pretty small number of validators running the show, you have to ask, how decentralized is it really? And this right here, this is their secret sauce. This is why traders love it. You get one-click trading, you pay zero gas fees, and your orders are finalized in less than a second. It basically removes all the clunky, annoying stuff we usually associate with DeFi. They've managed to build the sleek user experience of a centralized giant, but you still keep decentralized control over your funds, and that combination has just been a killer app. And that brings us to our third and final project, BlockDAG. So if Athena is all about financial innovation and Hyperliquid is about market dominance, then BlockDAG is an absolute masterclass in building insane momentum through community hype and a truly record-breaking presale. The scale of this is just hard to wrap your head around. BlockDAG raised over $385 million in its presale. That's before it even officially launched. That isn't just seed money, that is a colossal war chest that puts it in the same league as some of the biggest fundraisers of the entire year. So again, we see that familiar tension. The promise is huge. An insane amount of funding, a super engaged community, and strong security audits already in place. But the peril is just as clear. What does this thing actually do in the long run? Its utility is still unproven. It's built on a foundation of incredible hype, and its single biggest challenge is going to be converting all that presale excitement into a real sustainable ecosystem.
So how did they manage to raise so much? Well, a big part of their success came from this really clever gamified feature they call buyer battles. Here's how it works. At the end of each day, any coins that didn't sell are just given to the single biggest buyer of that day. It creates this daily competition, this loop that drives constant activity and rewards the investors with the deepest pockets and the most conviction. It's a pretty ingenious mechanic, and it has clearly paid off. So, we've taken a close look at each of these projects on their own. Now, let's zoom out. Let's put them all side by side and really see the different paths they're trying to carve out in the crypto world. When you lay it all out like this, it becomes so clear. You're looking at three completely different playbooks. Ethena is playing the game of financial innovation. Its strength is its scalable revenue model, but its biggest risk is whether that peg can hold. Hyperliquid is playing the game of pure market dominance, fueled by an amazing user experience, but it faces tough questions about centralization. And BlockDAG is playing the game of community and hype, proven by its massive fundraising. But its greatest risk is having to prove its utility after the party's over. So after breaking down these three incredibly powerful, yet incredibly different projects, we're left with one really big question. Which of these models, which of these strategies is ultimately going to win out and define this next chapter for crypto? And that's really the thought I want to leave you with today. Is the future of crypto going to be defined by Athena's complex, high-stakes financial innovation, or will it be Hyperliquid's ruthless, user-focused pursuit of market dominance? Or maybe, just maybe, it'll be BlockDAG's mastery of community, hype, and fundraising. We've got three projects, three very bold narratives, in which everyone comes out on top could very well set the tone for the entire market for years to come.